You're listening to the Next Level Sports Podcast, Episode 2, with Gus Constantino from Bottom 9 Sports Academy, where we'll be talking a little bit today about outworking everybody else. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Next Level Sports Podcast. Take your game to the next level today by learning mental skills from top-level coaches and professionals.
All right, everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Next Level Sports Podcast, where my guest today is Gus Constantino. Gus is a former professional baseball player, most recently with the New Hampshire Wild in the independent Empire Baseball League. Gus currently owns, operates, and is an instructor at the Bottom 9 Sports Academy in Naugatuck, Connecticut.
Some of the things I want, high school level athletes to know is that depending on what you want out of baseball, if your goal is to get to college or to get beyond that, high school baseball, there's going to be kids on the team that want that, and there's also going to be kids on the team that are there just to be there and enjoy the game and have fun those last few years of playing, because whether they don't have aspirations to go any further or they don't think they can, their goal isn't to do that, so they're not going to prepare themselves to do that. They're out there to have fun. So if you're one of those high school athletes that wants to get to that next level, you have to learn, and it's tough because, they're your friends, and it's great to have a bunch of friends, but at the end of the day, you have to learn to almost separate yourself from the nonsense and the goofing around and be able to prepare yourself and listen and practice the way you need to practice in order to get that dream to be a reality. And for some kids, it's tough to kind of separate yourself from your buddies on the practice field who are off goofing around when it's practice time, where you have to be, 100% focused and get that work in so that dream can become a reality. Because there are kids out there that are good enough, but the problem is they don't put the extra work in. They talk about doing things, talk, but there's never any action to actually do it. And that's a big thing that a lot of guys are missing to, take the time. Sometimes you have to, sacrifice some things to get the big things in the long run. And to get a kid who's a freshman in high school, maybe 14, 15 years old, to say, sacrificing maybe some time with friends is tough. But at the end of the day, if you sacrifice just a little bit in the future, you'll be able to have more because you sacrifice now. Sacrifice now so you don't have to sacrifice later. Because if you put the work in and you do what you need to do, you could have the life that you always dreamed of, and there are a select lucky few who get that because they took that time. You don't have to just be all about sports. There's plenty of time to fit friends in and do some fun things, go to the movies, go out to dinner, whatever you want to do. But when it's baseball time, it has to be nothing but baseball time.
Did you go to college, or did you go right out of high school to pro ball?
No, I went to college. I went to a Division I junior college called Lewisburg College. Ended up leaving there. I went to County College of Morris, which is a Division II JUCO. I ended up going there on scholarship. I went to the first school on scholarship as well. And I actually got into the school in New Jersey from the Cincinnati Red Scout who was looking at me. He had good connections there, and they actually gave me scholarship without ever seeing me play, just on strictly recommendation of the scout who liked me. And they took me on, gave me scholarship there, played 2 years there, and then I transferred a little bit closer to home to Western Connecticut State University. And after that, it was time to make a decision whether I played my 4 years of baseball in college, and it was either, continue going to school and get that degree, or take the shot when I can, when I don't have a family like that, I don't have kids, I don't have, job, I don't have bills. Take the shot, save some money, go out to a winter ball and try and get a contract to play some minor league ball in independent baseball. and you got one shot to do it. So I took it. I went out to Arizona. I put up some really good numbers there, and a couple coaches liked me. I ended up getting my first contract, and from there, I did high school coaching, and I played my first year. Then my second year came around. I got another contract, played out in Kentucky, and then it's time to get a job. I got to open up this place with my experiences. And then my last year, 2018 summer, I played in the Empire Professional Baseball League for a team called the New Hampshire Wild. And they flew us out to Puerto Rico. We got to play 2 weeks in Puerto Rico. It was awesome. There's nothing better than being able to pack your bags, go with your buddies that you just met. They're all on your team, a bunch of other guys, pack your bags, go into an airport with all your baseball gear and fly to, across the world and be able to say that I'm going out there to play a sport, where kids are going out there playing t-ball and I'm doing it. I'm going to make a couple bucks and I'm going to be able to play and people are going to watch me. I'm going to sign some autographs. It's a cool experience. It's really everything you could imagine it being. So it's, I didn't go to that big name school, and it's like you're going to play against guys who did go to those big name schools. And you kind of get overlooked at that point because everybody's going to look, where'd you go? And don't get me wrong, there's guys that get drafted from Division 3s, Division 2s, Division 1s, junior colleges, high school. So it's not all about that. But just like in the real world, you want to get a real job at an office, and there's a student in there that graduated from Yale or Harvard or whatever, and you graduated from your local community college, it makes a difference. People look at those things and they say, "Oh, look at this degree." It's got that name behind it. Doesn't make that person any better than you at what you do. It's just where they came from. So that's why I always tell kids now, grades is another thing that's important. Just because you're good in the field, you could be the greatest person ever, but if you can't academically get into a school, you can't go there. Yeah. So they both tie hand in hand. But to be able to do it, it's the best feeling in the world. You will remember it forever. The people you meet doing that all have the same dreams and goals as you, and those friendships are the ones that last. I still talk to all the guys I've played with, and it's great because you keep in touch with each other. And like, I have the sports facility, and a lot of the guys I played with are now college coaches. So not only do I get to develop kids, but I have contacts now that I met playing with who know me personally as a person, that I can call up and say, "Hey, I've got this kid. I think you should take a look at him." Or, here's this guy. I don't specifically know where he fits. I know he can play somewhere. Do you know someone who's looking for this type of player? And, they'll make phone calls around, and we'll get guys, in spots to play. There's a place for everybody. There's a lot of schools. It may not be that big school, but it'll be a school where you're going to play at. You're going to be able to enjoy that 4 years of baseball, and maybe if you do well, have an opportunity to go on and play some minor league ball. Or there might be a couple kids out there that do get to go on and live that big dream. I got buddies who are in the big leagues and that do that stuff, and it's great to see. So it's a possibility. You just got to know what you want and go after it.
And grades are a very important aspect. And then also going back to the high school days, there's different mentalities and different goals that the players in high school have. Some kids, high school is the big leagues for them, and then there's other kids that want to go on to college and to play professionally. Talk a little bit about the differences between the people that want to go on in high school and the people that are just happy with where they're at.
Yeah. So, and you kind of put it the best way, where those kids that are doing it for fun, that high school season, getting to that varsity level is the big leagues. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to play and you enjoy the game, go play, because baseball will teach you not only the game, but a ton of life skills, because nowadays failure doesn't get talked about. And baseball is a game where you succeed failing more often than not. So learning that skill at a young age is an important thing in my eyes. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But the guys that do want to go on, and that varsity is the stat book to get you to that next goal, that big goal, that college goal, or beyond that high school goal, that pro goal. You have to put it in your mind that it is a possibility. Because if you are one of those good kids, there's going to be more people that say you can't than that say you can. And you're going to run into, the people you thought were your buddies who are going to say things to other people that, you're not going to make it. No one does it from this town. I heard all that stuff. Everybody said it. I came from a smaller town. It was a brand new high school, oh, this guy, oh, he thinks he's going to do this. He thinks he's going to do that. But, my senior season, I had those scouts come to my games and watch me play. I had opportunity and people see me who everybody said couldn't do it. And if you're one of those good players, you have to take that negative attitude towards yourself that other people have and just work harder so it does happen. So when it does, all those people don't matter. The people that are telling you you can't are the ones who are too afraid to take the leap and go for it themselves. So what are they going to do? They're going to naysay your big goals and dreams because they don't have the confidence in themselves to go out and take the leap of faith and just go out there and do it. You've got to be the one that stands alone in the crowd, go out there and just take the jump. If you make it, great, you did it. But you don't want to be that one person, like 90% of the rest of them, who look back 40 years from their high school career and say, I wish I did that. You want to be the person, whether you make it or not, that says, I did everything possible to make my dreams happen. And if you do that, maybe it's not baseball, but because you put that work in, whatever job you do get will be the best one you can find because of that attitude you have of wanting and doing whatever it takes to succeed. And that's a huge thing for those players who are good that should take and use on a regular basis to just keep themselves motivated. Nobody's going to motivate you. You have to find it in yourself to find motivation. Use that negatives from all those other people to use as a positive to keep you working harder to show them it is possible. And I'm going to be the guy that does it just to prove you wrong and make my dreams a reality in the long run. And leave all those people behind because those aren't the people you want in your life anyway, who's going to be great to you in front of you. And then once you leave, be a naysayer. You want to fill your life with positivity, people around you that are positive, that want the same things as you. That's why I said when you get to college, it's different. All those kids that you play college ball with, you can ask them, what do you want to do? Most of them are going to want to try and get to that next level. And when you start playing with guys and surrounding yourself with people that have the same goals and aspirations as you, that's when it's truly a fun time to play baseball. Because that whole team has one big goal, and that goal is the same as yours, and those are the people you're going to connect with the most. Not saying you're not going to connect with other people, because yeah, you are. But as far as baseball goes, that's where you're going to have the most fun. And that's what you need to take and realize that, and that's what you're working for. That good feeling that you have, that all that hard work took off and it made it worthwhile.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about surrounding yourself with better quality players to improve your game.
Yeah. Yeah. Growing up, I always played up. And I don't know, I don't remember when I was a kid. I have one video that I watch all the time, my 12-year-old All-Star video, which is like the coolest thing ever. That I have, and I watch it all the time. I have it here at the shop that I play it once in a while, and it's cool to relive those memories. But when I was growing up, I always played up. And I was, at some point when I did catch up to my age group and I started playing at the same level, I was really good because I sat there and I took my lumps. I got hit. I didn't play that much. I remember when I was like 7 or 9 years old, and we didn't have a fall baseball team at the time. The only fall baseball team was like a 12-14 team. But I really wanted to play. So they said, we'll take him on the team and we'll let him. I got my one inning and I got my one at bat. every game. And that was fine with me. Why? Because I got to sit there and I got to watch good baseball, and I got my time, you know? I think I might have put the ball in play once. I played a lot of right field, which was fine. I liked the outfield because the guys could hit it out there. It was fun. But as time got on, I picked up the game very well. You know, what other guys were supposed to be doing. I was a true student of the game. I watched everything. I listened to all my coaches. I paid attention to what everybody was doing, all the little things. And over time, that stuff stuck with me, and that helped me get better. It wasn't just having, I wasn't just gifted talent out of nowhere. I had to work for every little piece of the thing that I have for baseball, because I wasn't that kid that just woke up and threw 90 or woke up and hit bombs. I was outside when I was, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, swinging my bat against a tire swing, or I had my hit away. I was outside with my dad having a catch. I didn't get big into high school, and I was late to it until about my sophomore year in high school, where I got big into baseball and started getting, notice from schools and scouts and stuff like that. But even when I was younger, man, I was always outside. Like I said, just a cheesy little tire swing that was hung in a tree that I never used as a tire swing. I use it to swing and hit my bat against it so I can try and get stronger. And I had fun just doing that, and I did really well. So it was all good. Playing up I think is an important thing. If you're not ready for it or you're a little nervous, that's fine. Play with your age group. But if you can and you can survive, go out there and try and play up. Make yourself better by playing better competition. Don't try and play down if you're a young kid and you're the greatest one. Oh yeah, I hit 3 home runs today. I'm 13. I'm on my 13U team and I'm the best one out there. Blah blah blah. Well, why don't you try and challenge yourself, man? Go to that next level and see how you compete against older kids. Because when you do have to compete, you go to high school and you're the best one on your freshman team, and you move up to varsity. There's going to be kids in that varsity team. If you're 14 years old, that are going to be 17, almost 18 years old. That's a 4-year age difference. When you go to college, you're going to be 17, 18 years old in college playing against grown men who are 21, 22 years old. All right, and if you're sitting there and you're 14, you're playing 14U, you're 16 playing 16U, and then you finally get to be 17, you're finally playing 18U, you play with kids that are your age your whole life. And you're going to get to that next level. And if you do go to that big school, all of a sudden, boom, you're in the box hitting at 17, 18 years old against a guy who's 21, 22 years old, who's getting ready to go in one of the top rounds in the draft, who throws 95, 97 miles an hour with a full beard. He's going to have the muscles. He's going to be in shape, and he's going to want to come in there and throw it by you and strike you out and show you that he is better than you are. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Who's better? And that's what he's going to do. And he's going to go on the mound, and he's going to try and strike you out. 3 pitches, 1, 2, 3. And if you're not ready for that level of competition because you've never played up, that's what it is in college. You're playing up. You're a young kid going against grown men at that point. And if you get drafted out of high school or drafted out of college, you're playing with even older guys who have more experience. You want to try and fit that in now so you can get used to it. We were lucky enough to have a young kid on our older team who his first fall season he hit over 300, but you could tell he was a little intimidated. But this year coming in, he's a monster. And it's because he took those lumps that first year. And now this year, I think he's going to have a great year, and I'm excited to see how he does later in the future. I think he's going to be one of those big-time kids that we have come out of here, which I'm excited to see. And I got a long time to wait. I got 4 more years to wait for him. But because he did that and he took himself and said, I want to be good, he took the leap to play up, and it's going to pay off for him in the long run.
Out of all the coaches you had from all the way down to Little League through pro ball, what's that piece of advice that kind of stuck with you this whole time?
Oh, man. All the coaches and all the okay, I got one piece. I don't remember who told me this. I don't remember the coach that told me this. It was probably a lot of them. But there's one thing that stuck with me is that it doesn't take talent to hustle. And that to me speaks volumes. When I go out and I look and I watch kids play, there's always something that stands out, and it's the one kid that's always moving. You know, you're going to see kids that are good players, but they're lazy. Nobody wants the lazy guy. Everybody wants the guy that's willing to work and put that extra work in. There's people out there with huge life struggles that don't take a day off, that go out and get things. And, you know, if you want to be great, you can't be lazy. You got to go out there and get it. So it doesn't take talent to hustle is probably something that I've lived by. That'll take you pretty far in life, no matter if it's sports or not, you know, because you got to hustle in life. And if you don't, you don't. And it doesn't take much to do it. You just got to get out there and do it. So, yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I've taken from all my coaches, that it doesn't take any talent to hustle. So go out there and get it done.
Yeah, man, I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now that you're here at Bottom 9 Sports Academy, and you're giving lessons, you're working with teams, you have a bunch of teams playing under you.
Yes.
What are some of the key things that you're focusing on with teaching young athletes?
Teaching the younger kids, we really try and get the fundamentals, you know, firmly planted in all these young kids. A lot of times, you know, kids come in and they hit the ball, and that's great. Hitting the ball is half the battle. Throwing the ball is half the battle. Catching the ball is half the battle. But at the end of the day, you can ask, you can go up to all the big guys. I was told this my first year into minor league ball when I went out to winter ball, is that they've had guys not get signed who hit 600 in the league. Why don't they get signed? They have bad fundamentals. You know, you're going to see guys who don't throw hard. And there's going to be kids that get hits. But if they're not taking good quality swings, at the end of the day, when the competition starts to get better, those bad swings aren't going to produce what they need to produce. You might have a bad swing and be able to hit the ball all over the place and get a couple singles. Maybe you run into one here and there, but you're just trying to poke the ball. People want to see guys with good, solid mechanics, because if you have mechanics, those things were going to connect. And the athleticism is there, and the fundamentals are there. You know, you got to learn how to field the ball correctly, using both hands, funnel it in, get it out quick, make a strong throw, follow your throw to your target, not just throw it and stay back. You got to learn to follow your throw. Hitting, learn to stay behind the baseball so we can drive the ball all over the park. These things we try and get the kids to learn. Just learning how to use your body to create as much power as possible and be able to control it at the same time. You can't take this crazy swing and falling all over the place. It's not going to be efficient enough. You need to learn how to use your body efficiently enough to create the best movements to get the best result. So we're big on fundamentals here and learning the game the right way. And as they start to get older, you know, we start to talk about situations of what you may or may not see, depending on what type of hitter you are, what you're trying to look for in certain counts, what pitch does that specific player drive well, what pitch don't you hit well. So when you're up in the count or the count's even, you know what you're looking for in that specific count that, you know, you want to try and drive that pitch you can handle well. For some guys, it's low and in. For some guys, it's an outside pitch so they can get their hands extended on the baseball. And we try and help them out so that they can optimize their advantages. You know, what pitch do I hit the best, and learn how to attack that pitch. You know, you have to be able to hit all the pitches, because if you do get down in the count, you know, we got to learn to at least fight. So maybe that pitch does come. And then another thing is always taking our best swing. I preach that. I would, you know, especially when you're younger, you may only get 2 at-bats a game. Make the most of it, you know. Just because, you know, it's 0-0. You see a lot of kids. You go to any ball game, there's an 0-0 count. No balls, no strikes. Kid gets in the box, and he lunges at the ball and hits a little slow rollover back to the pitcher, and he gets out. He's all frustrated. Well, if he learns to do the right things and he can sit back and wait and take his best swing on that pitch, maybe he does hit that double, or maybe he hits that ball harder so it gets through the infield. Hit the ball hard. It doesn't have to be a line drive every time or whatever. If you hit the ball hard, good things are going to happen. The ball's going to find a hole. It's going to find a gap. Maybe you get lucky, you run into one, you hit a home run. But hitting the ball hard is a big thing. You can't just take lazy swings to poke the ball in the field or whatever and just put the ball in play, because that's not going to get the job done. That's what I go back to is as you get older, people don't necessarily care about your average, because your average might be high, but if your mechanics aren't there, it's not going to take you to that next level. So that's
Excellent.
what we're all about.
When either when you were in college or even in pro ball, what were some of your favorite drills that you did?
Favorite drills. I'll be honest. Anything. So I don't really have specific drills that I like that I would know necessarily, like names of them. Everybody calls them different things. Drills that I liked were things that I thought would help me in my swing. Because everybody's got a different swing, I guess you could say. There's parts in everybody's swing that are going to be similar, and there's going to be parts of people's swing that are different. Nobody's going to look the same. Nobody's going to finish the same, but those big parts in between that swing are going to be pretty close. So if there were drills that I was doing that, compromised those big parts of my swing that I wanted to be similar to all the greats in the game that did certain things, I was trying to get those pieces to work. And if a drill didn't work for me in my setup to get me to those points, I wasn't a big fan of it. That's why we try and, when we do work on kids' swings, we try and look at their swing and give them drills that are going to fit them for their particular swing. Yes, there are a few drills that work for pretty much everybody as long as they get the idea behind the drill. If they don't, there's millions of other drills that you can do that are going to simulate or apply that knowledge of the movement we're trying to get for each player. So you really have to know what you're looking for in order to give a person the right drill to do, because not everything's going to work. Not every person's going to necessarily understand what you're trying to get to. So you got to come up with, different analogies to try and get somebody to figure out what you're trying to say. Because a lot of times the player may not understand what you're trying to get at. So you have to come up with something else that will stick in his head so he can figure it out. Because we can only do so much. We can't play for them. We have to get them to figure out what we're showing them or telling them for them to actually make that movement. And that's a tough part for kids to understand, no matter what age they are, especially as they get older. Because once you get older, you start to create habits, and habits are tough to break. It takes thousands and thousands of repetitions to break a bad habit and turn it into a good one. And even though you take one great swing, the next one, you might fall back into that old habit, especially when you get into live game situations where thinking and feeling things may go out the window and you just have to see it and react. Those bad habits are going to come in. Like, we work with a lot of younger kids. They're awesome to work with because it's a blank canvas most of the time. They haven't played long enough to create a bad habit. And you can tweak some things, and as long as they're listening and paying attention, they're going to get it pretty quick, and you're going to get a young kid with a pretty good swing who's going to grow up to be one of those, hopefully elite players that everybody's kind of looking for to pick up.
And between working with young athletes and then and you coach some high school as well too, yes. Correct? What do you think one of the biggest struggles for high school athletes is right now that you've seen? I
think some of the big things I see with high school players now is trying to figure out how to word this. Maybe falling into some bad advice. Like I said, everybody has their own swing, and there's pieces to everybody's swing who are going to be pretty close to the same. But they're, like everything, there are exceptions to the rules. Not everybody can hit a fly ball and hit it 500 feet. But there's been a lot of talk recently, and it's kind of going away a little bit depending on where you are and what you're listening to, about the whole, hit the ball in the air, hit those big fly balls and kind of let that barrel get down and try and swing up through the baseball. Things like that. Because you see that little guy who's 5'2", weighs about 130 pounds soaking wet. He's got his hands low and he's trying to get up underneath everything. Well, unfortunately at 5'2", 130 pounds soaking wet, you may not be able to drive that ball 450 feet trying to lift it in the air. You might want to try and take a different approach and be able to get that level swing through the zone and be able to hit that ball with good backspin. Because if you give that ball good backspin, it's going to carry. You're going to be able to hit those gaps and get those singles and pop some doubles. And maybe you do run into one that carries a little bit better and you get that triple, maybe even a home run. But for some guys, lifting that ball high in the air isn't going to get it done. And, there's a lot of people out there teaching everybody that. Those are the rule breakers. Those are the kids that are huge kids, like the Aaron Judges, 6'8", 275 pounds. He's a monster. He's one of those guys who is just, it doesn't apply to him. And unless you're that, I haven't seen too many Aaron Judges walking around. So unless you are that, maybe we should start looking at players who are similar to us to look at their swings and try and see what they're doing efficiently enough to create that power in themselves. And that's the kind of thing that we do here. Look at a player. How can we make this kid who's 5'3", 130 pounds, get him more power? What are the movements we can give him and teach him to help him drive the ball better? Because getting his hands low and trying to lift the ball in the air, it's not going to do anything but let him fly out to the infield. Or maybe get a nice fly ball to the outfield. Well, unfortunately, those aren't hits in the book. And he's going to be swinging over a lot of things and just missing pitches. You got to be able to drive baseball. No matter how big or small you are, there's ways to do it, and maybe dipping and ripping isn't the best way. And you really have to, as a high school player, do some research on some things when you hear people talk and be able to, it's tough because they're still learning mechanics at that age still. But to do your research on what someone's telling you, because if one guy does it and it works, great. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You've got to find what works for you. Maybe dipping and ripping isn't the thing. Maybe hitting line drives is the thing. Maybe you're a speed guy and maybe you get on top of it a little bit and you try and find, you get some infield hits. Depends on what kind of player you're. You have to know, here's the big thing, high school players, know what kind of player you are. Are you a power hitter? Are you a gap-to-gap hitter? Are you a singles guy? What player are you? And stick to that and don't try and become something else. Play the game. Be the player you are, not the player you want to try and be. Because everybody wants to be the big power guy. If that's not you, stay within your game and be the gap-to-gap guy. Because those guys find places to go, man. You put up a bunch of doubles and you drive in runs and you're stealing bases. Another big thing, speed never slumps. If you're fast, you hit a ground ball, beat it out. Base hit. Speed never slumps. There's a big thing for high school guys. If you're the fast guy, put the ball in play. You're the big guy, change a couple things. Maybe you do get a little more lift in your swing. You're a medium-sized guy, play gap to gap. Hit left center, hit right center. Put the ball in the gaps, get your doubles, get your line drive singles, and make solid hard contact.
When it comes to the teammates you had when you were in pro ball, what would you say is the biggest mental difference between pro players and high school and college players?
The big difference between guys who are at that high level, they have routines built for themselves, and they understand what their swing is. Yeah, they still have help along the way and tweaking a couple things here and there, but for the most part, if they do have an issue or they want to recreate their swing, they know enough about their own body and the way it moves to fix themselves and figure out drills to make the movements they have to make. Whereas, even some high, the elite players are going to be able to do it. There's going to be elite high school players and college players that can take a swing in an at-bat and make an adjustment. Adjustments are the biggest things. If you want to make it to the next level, you have to be able to make adjustments. And that comes down to listening to your coaches and really being able to feel movements that your body's making. a decent player will make adjustments, game by game. They'll play a game, they'll do bad, they'll go back and think about it, and they'll have a couple practices, and they'll make an adjustment. The next game gets a little better. A good player will make adjustments game by game. A great player will make an adjustment, an at-bat. So every at-bat they make an adjustment to get better. An excellent player, that guy who's an elite player, will make an adjustment swing by swing. He'll take a swing, he'll step out the box, think about it, take a couple practice swings, get back in the box. If he sees that same pitch and he's an elite player, he's going to make that adjustment, that next pitch, and be able to hit this ball. That's what's going to separate guys from going to big schools, small schools, medium schools, getting drafted out of high school, or getting drafted in general, or playing any type of pro ball, is the being and having that ability to make those adjustments on the fly. So that's what really differences younger guys who may be not ready from younger guys or older guys who are ready for that next step.
And at the beginning you mentioned, baseball is really just a great skill for life in general, of how to deal with failure. How do you think is the best way for high school kids or even college kids who, for the first time, they're kind of playing up a little bit? How do you think is the best way for them to deal with that failure?
You can't be afraid of it. Everybody's going to strike out. It happens. But if you let that fear of making a mistake run and dictate how you play, you're not going to play at your full potential. You have to go out and go for it. You can't be out of control about it. You have to be able to go at 100%, but be in control of yourself. But if you're afraid of those mistakes and that failure, you're not going to make it. You have to understand that failure is a part of baseball. It's a part of the game. It's a part of life. And you have to understand it's going to happen and go for it. At the end of the day, Hall of Famers, man, 3 for 10. That's a bad day on a test. You get 3 right out of 10 answers, you're failing. You got to retake that thing. But if you go in, you play your career and you go 3 for 10 in your whole career, whether it's in college or whatever, that's a good career. 300 average, that's pretty good. And there's guys that do better than that. That's excellent. You just got to know that failure is a part of the game, and you have to find ways, whether it's, going to the gym or going for a run or having that time to just sit back and relax for a little bit and separate yourself from the game, to get over that failure. Best part about baseball is most of the time you're probably playing the next day. You have a bad day, so what? You got to leave it behind, go out there and make some adjustments, and go out and get it the next day. There's always going to be tomorrow. So just go out there and get it done. Don't be afraid to fail. Once you are, it's all done. Just go out there and play, have fun, enjoy it, do the best you can. And, things kind of take care of themselves. If you stay calm and relaxed, you're going to have, you're going to be successful. You can ask people, and people who listen to this, they're probably going to have that same experience if they've played. If you've ever hit a home run or a nice double or whatever it is, or even hit the ball well, somebody's going to ask you later that day, what did that home run feel like? To be honest with you, I've hit home runs. You don't feel anything. You don't remember what you were thinking about. It's that blank, clear mind of being calm when you have the greatest success. When you're in the box or you're playing and all these thoughts are running through your head, whether it's positive or negative, there's so much going on in your head where you can't just focus. When you have that clear, calm mind and you could sit there and you're really not thinking about anything, your body's going to react and good things are going to happen. So, you can think about it and you can ask people, oh, hey, when you hit that home run last year or that game, what were you thinking about? What were you looking for? Yeah, sometimes you're going to be looking for a specific pitch in the back of your mind, but at the time you make contact, there isn't anything going through your mind. You saw that ball and it was right there where you wanted to be, and your body did what it needed to do because you were, you're mechanically strong, you're sound, and things took over and it happened. And then sometimes, you see that one kid hit that first home run, all of a sudden he thinks he's a big bopper and he gets, 10 Ks after that because he starts to think about that one home run. How did it happen? Why did it happen? What was I thinking about? And that's why baseball's hard, because sometimes you get in your head and you try and do too much. That comes back to, stay within yourself and be the player you are. There's, good players. You're going to run into home runs once in a while. But just because you hit one doesn't mean you're a home run hitter. So you got to just stay within yourself. It's a big thing. And I say it a lot, so.
Awesome. And you want to throw out a plug to your website and all that stuff?
Yeah, so right now we don't have a website. We're working to get one up. Right now we have a Facebook page. You can just go on Facebook. It's Bottom, the number 9 Sports Academy on Facebook. You can look it up. Or on Instagram, you can type in Bottom 9 Sports Academy on Instagram. We got a page there. The Instagram page got a couple of videos on that. We do a lot of, things about our teams and what we kind of do here. The Facebook page has a lot of videos that we have on our teams when they practice and stuff like that. We have some videos of some of our younger players, how they've developed over a couple months or even a couple weeks. Some players catch on earlier than others. And just some videos on players of how they've progressed over the time here. Stuff like that. I'll post on there of if we're doing anything type of special deals. Our prices are up there, what we do.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And for people that want to get in touch with you, they can reach out via DM or Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, they can DM us on Instagram. They can Facebook message us. They can give us a call at the number that I gave earlier, the 203-714-6190.
All right, and that was my interview with Gus Constantino. And wow, so much good information there. Amateur athletes, young athletes can get so much out of listening to Gus. And that biggest takeaway for me was that quote that he couldn't quite remember which coach told it to him, but it doesn't take talent to hustle. Good Lord. Is that not powerful? Wow. And, one of the things that's so great about Gus is he works so well with younger athletes. And I've seen him at the Bottom 9 Sports Academy, so good with the young kids. They take right to him. He gets down on their level. He teaches them the right way. And he's just an all-around great guy. So if you're in the Connecticut area, definitely check out Bottom 9 Sports Academy. It's a great little facility, and Gus is a great guy. So, like you said, hop over onto Facebook, search for Bottom 9 Sports Academy, and until next time, let's kick it over to the Zambonis. Take it away, guys.